Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel NSR Azure Cloud. In the last session, we have seen how to create resource group and a particular storage account called as BLOB, right? In this session, I'll be discussing about what are the different types of BLOB storages and what are the different storage access types which are available for this particular BLOB storage account, okay? All right, so coming to this blob storage, so we have different types of blob storages like block, page and append. All right, so what is this blob is basically used to store text data, binary data, images, log files and much more. Okay, this is basically used to store different kinds of data like images, log files, text data, binary data. That is one thing. Okay, and the other thing is we can store the data like whenever you're trying to upload a particular file under this category, right? Under this blob category, we'll be able to, the max limit could be 100 MB. Okay, each file could be of 100 MB. So 100 MB file also you'll be able to upload onto this particular category under this particular blob category. Okay, so that is the second thing. And the most important thing in this blob is whenever you try to upload a particular file, right, that particular file can be edited. Okay, I'll show you practically also that. Okay, all right, so now let me move on to this append blob. This is a second category called as append blob. This is basically ideal for the scenarios wherein you want to log the data from virtual machines. Okay, this is basically ideal for logging the data from virtual machines. And this like if you can see here, we have different types of log storages, append blocks, and it can also go up to different kinds of sizes. Okay, but unlike this blob, the size is only 4 MB. Okay, so the maximum size limit for a particular file to be uploaded is of 4 MB. All right, that is one thing in this append block. And the main difference between this append and block is in the block, right, if you want to append, I mean if you want to add any kind of data to that present file, you can do that. Okay, you can open that particular file and you can edit that file, but it is not possible in this append block because this is a read-only blob. Okay, in this read-only blob you cannot directly go and manipulate any kind of data present. Okay, if you want to do that, you'll have to download that particular file, perform your changes, and only then you'll have to upload it under this category. Okay, so that is about append block. All right, so what is this page blob? Okay, page blob is basically used to it is basically used to store the data wherein you'll be randomly accessing files up to 8 TBs. Okay, 8 terabytes of data will be using here. And one more thing is this is basically used to store VHD files. Okay, virtual hard drive files will be present, right? So that kind of files could be stored in this particular category under this page blob. Okay, it is basically intended for storing VHD files, and it also serves as disk for Azure virtual machines. Okay, it basically serves as disks for Azure virtual machines. All right, so now I'll show you how to create that particular how to upload files in these particular category. Portal.azure.com, and inside this portal.azure.com, in the previous session I have created one input container. So let me create another. Okay, let me just use this one. Inside this input container, this is nothing but it's a directory. Inside this I'll try to upload a blob. Okay, upload a file under this blob category. Okay, so let me just browse a sample file. I'm just browsing one file. Click here. Okay, this already exists, so just click on this override option, or else browse another file, not an issue. Okay, so after this you are supposed to click on this advanced. Okay, and just click on this advanced. See here, you can see this type, right? Block type. By default, the block type which will be chosen is this blob. Okay, and by default this is the option which is chosen. All right, we have different kinds here: block, page and append. So let me show you how this block works. Okay, if you can see the size here, each file size limitation is 100 MB. Okay, you can upload a file of 100 MB also under this category. Choosing this block category, you can choose this particular 100 MB file also can be stored. All right, regarding this access type, I'll say in a while. Okay, so just give any kind of name here. I'll just give blob for my understanding purpose. All right, so just upload this particular file. Uploading done. Let me just open it. So if you can see, we under this particular blob we have uploaded one file. Okay, so this can be till 100 MB also, it will accept. All right, now let me show you how to upload append blob file. Append blob. Choose a file. click on advanced, change the block type as append blob. See, the maximum file limit is, size limit is only 4 MB. Okay. So upload to a particular folder, say it as append. Okay, then just let me click on upload. I'll show you the main difference between these two. Okay. Let me just close it. All right. Now I'm opening this blob and this particular file which I've just uploaded. And I'll try to use this edit option. Okay, so here you can see, right, we have different kinds of data. So if I want to perform any kind of manipulations, if I want to remove this 8th row or few details, if I want to remove, or if I want to add some other row, etc., anything, we can perform those kind of operations here. Okay, we can perform data manipulations. I mean, we can add data, we can remove data. Those kind of things can be done in this blob. Okay, just save it. All right, so now this particular file is saved. Okay, and let me show you this append blob. Okay, so I have uploaded one file under this category, right? So if you try to click on this edit option, you'll not be able to edit it, because this is we cannot directly edit it from the portal. Okay, because this kind of category is a read-only category. Okay, this file itself is a read-only file. Okay, if you want to perform any kind of changes, right, you'll have to download that particular file onto your system and open it and do any kind of changes, and then only you can upload that particular file. All right, so that is about block and append. Whereas you can choose another kind of VHD files for page blob. Okay, just choose that particular file and then choose the page blob category, and if you have any VHD files, right, you can directly upload that VHD files. All right, since I do not have any VHD file, I'm not uploading, but if you have any, feel free, go and upload it. All right. All right, so that is about different kinds of storage. All right, so that is about our blobs categories, and let us move on to the next slide. Blob storage access tiers. Okay, so we have 3 different kinds of access tiers. These are basically used for storage purpose. Okay, we'll be storing different kinds of data in these different access tiers. Okay, when and where, I'll tell you. First, starting with hot access tier. This hot access tier, right, this basically this tier is optimized to store the data that is frequently accessed. Okay, if you want to store a particular data which is frequently used, right, at that particular time, you will be using this particular access tier. Okay, so different kinds of operations like a read operation, write operation can be performed on that particular data. All right, here we have something called as storage cost. So since you are trying to access the data which is present under this tier, right, you will be using it on a daily basis. Okay, if you try to access a particular storage account on a daily basis, then the storage cost would increase. Okay, since you are using it daily, the storage cost would increase. And one more thing here, the access cost would be reducing. Okay, the access cost, like if you want to perform any kind of read or write operations, right, the access cost would be decreasing here. Okay, that is one thing which you'll have to remember. All right, coming to this cool access tier. Cool access tier, basically this tier is optimized to store the data which is not so frequently used. Okay, so if you want to store the data for like 30 days, right, at that point of time you will be using this cool access tier. All right, for 30 days of data you can store this you can store under this particular category called as cool access tier. Okay, this is not so frequently used, and here since we are only using it for 30 days, like, right, the storage cost would be decreasing and the access cost would be increasing. Okay, access cost increases here and the storage cost would reduce. Okay, what are the scenarios wherein we'll be using this cool access tiers? The scenarios are if you want to store data for like short-term backups, for disaster recovery data, right? So if you want to access that particular data at that point of time, you will be using this cool access tier. Okay, the data which is stored in this particular file, I mean in this particular tier, would be accessible for 30 days. All right, now coming to this archive access tier. Basically this archive access tier is not so, actually it is very rarely used. Okay, this basically used for very rarely it is used, and this is basically used for archiving data. All right, it is used for archiving data, and this is very rarely used data. So if you want to store a particular data for like 180 days, for like 6 months or so, at that point of time you will be choosing this archive access tier. All right, so here what happens, since we are trying going to retain the data for 180 days, right? So here the retrieval cost would be more. If you want to retrieve the data present in that particular folder, then the retrieval cost would be more here. Okay, so and what are the scenarios wherein we'll be using this? The scenarios could be short long term backups, secondary backups, and or archival things, right? So for those particular categories we'll be using this archive access tier. Okay, so remember one thing, like hot is a frequently used tier, wherein you'll be storing the data or accessing the data on a daily basis. Okay, cool is for 30 days period of time. We can, it is basically optimized to store the data for 30 days, and this is used for short term backups and disaster recovery data. Okay, that particular data would be present under this tier. Coming to this archive, we can, using this archive we can store the data for like 180 days or 6 months, and the retrieval cost would be more here. And the one more thing is, it is basically used for long term backups, secondary backups, and archival data. All right. All right. So in the next slide, in the next session, I'll be discussing more about how to create a normal like copy activity or any other topics I'll be coming up with. So that's all for today, guys. Let's meet